Hi, everybody. This is Crystal coming to you from Yellowknife, Northwest Territories. And this is my first body positive discussion that we'll be having in the Luscious Lifers private Facebook group. And I hope to offer them once a month on the second Wednesday of every month at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, which is the time zone that I'm in. So you can figure out which time zone are you in and when will it be live, because I would love to interact with you about some of the topics that we're going to be discussing. And today I wanted to talk to you guys about what is body positive yoga, because it's not something that I have necessarily addressed out there in the world. I say I teach body positive yoga, and I'm wondering, maybe some people are wondering, what is body positive yoga? So I think maybe we could start with, what is body positivity? Body positivity is different definition for different people. So everyone's interpretation is a little bit unique. At its core, it's a feminist practice, comes from feminist ideals, and it's the idea that every body deserves love, every body is worthy of self-care, everybody is worthy of acceptance, and everybody is worthy of love, essentially. So it doesn't matter what your size is, what race you are, your body ability. It doesn't matter if you are queer. All bodies deserve love and respect. And I think that that's really important. And for me, it's that everybody can also get to decide whether or not they love their bodies. And if they feel good in their bodies, that's their choice. Sort of your body, your rules. And you get to feel good and feel beautiful no matter who finds you attractive or doesn't find you attractive. You get to determine that. And I think that that's really important. And so how does this kind of translate into body positive yoga practice? First, most importantly, I think it's a really good thing to think about that everyone has access to the benefits of yoga. So you have a body and you can breathe. So if you're alive, you're breathing. And if you can practice conscious breathing, then you can do yoga. So I have done yoga with people who are in palliative care, who are laying in their bed at the hospital and maybe not able to get out of bed, but if they can consciously be aware of their breath, then they are able to practice yoga. So it's so much more than just the postures that we do. And for me, body positive yoga is also so much more than just about body size. It's about being able to feel good in your body in a yoga practice in a myriad of ways. So for example, my business has guiding principles that help to frame how I operate a body positive business. And first of all, I live in Canada, and Canada is a place where that has been colonized, and there is Indigenous people here, and I am living on Indigenous land. And so I always try to offer a practice that holds that keeps that in mind. So I practice to recognize that I am offering my services on Indigenous land. So when I'm at home in Yellowknife and practicing my offerings, I will state at the beginning of my workshops and my retreats that I thank the Yellowknives Dene for allowing me to offer my services on the unceded Chief Dry Geese traditional territory of the Yellowknives Dene. So that's the land that I am operating on. And when I travel and I offer my workshops and retreats in different locations, then I'll take that time to learn whose land am I visiting, and take some time at the beginning of my offering to thank them for allowing me to do my practice on their land. I also always hold reverence for the fact that yoga comes from India, and I hold reverence for the lineage, for the history, for the culture in which yoga arose. And I do this by studying yoga philosophy, knowing the history of yoga and the culture in which it arose, and how culture has shaped to what yoga is today. So that includes the history of colonialism in India as well. And I do this by stating at the beginning of my workshops that I honor the path of yoga, that yoga comes from India, that it is an Indian tradition, and that yoga is not mine. So when I'm offering yoga to other people, it's really, I'm a vehicle, and I have teachers who have given me this practice, and then I'm offering it to others. So it is not mine to hold on to. And yeah, I always try to make sure that the space is as anti-oppressive as possible. So whatever space I'm operating in, which can be pretty challenging because we do live in a pretty oppressive society, and there is oppressive actions in different spaces. But I focus on making my spaces anti-racist, anti-colonial, patriarchy resistant, LGBTQ plus positive, and body and ability positive. And I always acknowledge my own privilege. So I can't possibly have all the answers on how to make the space safe in those ways and anti-oppressive in all those ways. I can bring some things to the table, but I don't have all the answers. So I really welcome feedback from others on how to make my practice anti-oppressive as possible. And I just believe that if we don't create safe space, then it's a lot harder to find healing. And as a yoga therapist, which I am, my goal is that your yoga practice is as healing as possible. And when we create a safe space, when you feel safe to be who you are, then that's really going to help you find that healing. And without that, it's a lot more challenging. Yeah, and I also explore ways to make those services as accessible as possible for people. So I do that by offering free classes, offering by donation classes and pay what you can classes. I do this by offering classes where the proceeds will be donated to a certain organization that I believe in, or donated to a certain cause. And they also will do things like offer to work with individuals for whom cost might be a barrier to being able to do a yoga practice with me or take part in one of my offerings, and work with them to find a way so that they can still get the benefits of the practice. And so that cost won't be a barrier. Yeah, and I do all of this because, again, I feel that safety is so important, and I really want to help people heal through a yoga practice and a yoga therapy practice, and for that, creating a safe space is so important to me. So once I've tried as much as I can to make this space I'm creating as safe as possible, in the practice, I try to be aware of the kind of language that I'm using. So how do I make the actual class body positive as I'm teaching it? Be aware of any body shaming language, never using anything around weight or weight loss, never food shaming comments. I also don't like to use ideas of like, this is the full expression of a pose. Instead, I like to focus on the fact that whatever version of the pose you're doing, focus on what kind of benefits you're getting inside your body, because I really think that the goal of our practice is to get those benefits. So it doesn't matter what it looks like so much on the outside if you're able to find those benefits on the inside. And yeah, and then I also try to be as well versed as I can in all the different modifications that I can possibly create for people. So again, this isn't just about body size, but maybe someone who's just had a wrist injury, or I teach yoga therapy for back care quite often, and so people might be in there with back pain, and so how can I accommodate? What happens if they have a herniated disc? How should I modify their practice? Someone has vertigo, how can I help modify their practice? I recently had a man come in and he's in a cast on one ankle. How do I help him modify his practice? And it can be not just how do you modify somebody's practice for them, but how can you make it even more of a healing practice? So say it is they have a herniated disc. Like, what could you do that helps to bring about healing for that disc herniation? What kind of things can you mention in the class so that at home later they could practice some things that might help them heal from whatever injury they have going on? So I think that that's also really important, is that it's not just in the room on the yoga mat. We're building skills for the rest of our lives, and that's really what yoga is. It's a bunch of skills to help you with life. Yeah, and working with people. I think the other thing is, at the beginning of my class, I often will talk about permission and giving my students permission to listen to their bodies, giving my students permission to move their body in the way that feels good for them, and saying, I'm going to offer alignment cues and I'm going to offer modifications, but that I trust that you know your body best and that you can move your body in the best way for you. And again, just coming back to the benefits, all those benefits. So yeah, so that's really what I focus on in the class. And in that space, my goal is to really focus on helping people find, in terms of body positivity, like, so now these are like the positive outcomes of practicing body positive yoga, that people can start to appreciate their bodies for everything it can do and everything that it is doing to help support our lives, that our bodies are a vehicle to experiencing our lives. And so we just want to celebrate what they're doing to help us experience life here on this planet. And starting to notice where our bodies feel strong, noticing where our bodies feel capable, when we are dealing with different injuries or feeling not good about our bodies in different ways. We might not notice that we feel strong, or that we might feel good, that maybe there's just maybe it's just in your left thumb that you feel good in your body today, but really focus and notice that your left thumb feels good. And starting to feel like, okay, I'm going to work with my body. So in your yoga practice, work with the body that you have and see your body as an ally, as opposed to being at war with your body and trying to fight against your body, starting to work with your body. And then also, starting to see your value and your worth beyond size, beyond a number on a scale. And that's something I have worked really hard to achieve in my life. And, every day it comes and goes, but it is every day generally so much better in my life. And the last piece is just starting to see health as no longer just about some numbers, and health as not just about your body size, but health as a physical thing, as a mental thing, as a spiritual thing. Health having more aspects than just the physical. So I don't know if anybody who's watching live, if you have any questions. I loved watching. Thank you so much, Lissa and Sally and Kate, for watching and giving little likes and comments and emoticons throughout. And if you have any questions, I would love to hear your thoughts on everything I shared. And if you have any other thoughts or anything that you think that I missed, because I definitely don't think this is the full picture of what body positive yoga is. So if there's anything else that you think that I might have missed, that you feel like helps to have a body positive yoga practice, I would love to hear about it too. So if there's not any other comments, I'm going to close off and sign off for today, but I want to thank you guys so much for joining me live. And if you're watching this replay, again, I would love to hear some comments. And yeah, I really hope that we get the opportunity to practice some body positive yoga together, and let's keep making this world a better place with more love. Thanks, Kate. Okay, love you guys and hope you're having an awesome day, and I'll chat with you guys again soon.